Okay, let's see if that's better. So somebody's building a low-rise or mid-rise condominium here. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 floors so far. And over here, these are single-family homes that are being constructed in Providence. And of course, these are covers, drain covers that are being constructed on the side of the road. So this, what used to be called the Red Road, suffered a catastrophic collapse. I think the road collapsed into a sinkhole at one point, I think close to the public road end, the western, the western end, close to the East Bank Public Road. And since then they have been resurfacing and rebuilding this road. That's the entrance to new neighborhood in Providence. All these houses are on the construction and now being built because this neighborhood was actually just vacant land. It was just sugar cane field. And now people are coming in and building their homes and rental properties here in Providence. We're about a mile away from the Amazonia Mall, a mile away from the East Bank Public Road, and what we're looking at is, okay, so these are the drains that are being covered as the road is being built. But what we're looking at here is new neighborhoods that were built in the last 5 years or so, some of it even more recently than that. That's looking south towards Timeri and so on. And the other side is looking north towards Georgetown here in Providence. And the major developments nearby, I think Sheriff has a housing development nearby, and there's another famous one. Oh, is it Ever or something? I'll remember it shortly. But the last time we were here, they hadn't yet started resurfacing or rebuilding this Red Road in Providence. I think I walked all the way to the end towards the Amazonia Mall, and between where we are and the Amazonia Mall, which of course is opposite the Princess Hotel and Casino, between here and there, the only major developments were on this side, that is on the north side, was the Sheriff Housing Development Complex, which is what we're looking at right now. These houses are in Sheriff Housing Development Complex. And on the other side was, that is the south side, I think it was Texila American University and their compound. So we're gonna see what has happened since then. So this is a new housing development. I think these houses are part of the, what is the name of that housing development? Write it in the comments, some of you who remember what it is. It's a famous housing development here in Peters Hall, in the Peters Hall area. Peters Hall and Providence. And on this side, of that road, it's another housing development. Now, This road is also new. So the last time we were here, they hadn't completed this road, but it actually is a new dual lane highway that runs, I think it's intended to go all the way to Diamond, but it might actually only be up to Mucka. The next major crossroad is Mucka, goes to Mucka Arcadia, and I suppose that this road actually runs all the way to Mucka. Now this one is also being worked on. This is the road that runs beside that famous housing development, commercial housing development. Still can't remember the name of it. Was it Forest something? Anyway, those of you who remember the name, put it in the comments below. So that's the famous housing development in the distance. And over here, and the road is actually being developed, constructed, and it's beside it, which is a good thing, because the last time I actually used this road, it was full of potholes, it was congested, the traffic jam, because of all the other road construction in the neighborhood. Now this road, which used to be called Red Road, I don't know what they're calling it now, is 4 lanes, and of course they've blocked it at this end, at this intersection, for road construction to continue. But this is Red Road, the famous Red Road, and on both sides of Red Road, here for example, is that housing development. If you can take a peek on the inside of the fence. Right, this is a housing development that is being constructed by Sheriff. Right, that's Sheriff's housing development. On the other side, it's still fenced off, but nobody has started construction yet. As you can see, major construction work is still going up. Here, major house construction is still going on. So based on my previous visit, which would have been much earlier this year, maybe sometime in February or March earlier this year, there's been a significant amount of change. They're still not building proper sidewalks in Guyana because of course there's no standard. These sidewalks are supposed to be level so that people with wheelchairs can use them. There should be on-ramps and curb cuts, but of course, I guess that's what makes us still a third world country, because the memo has not yet been received. Nobody has said to these people that there are standard ways of building. Right? In fact, most of these sidewalks are trip hazards. Hopefully we'll get there sooner rather than later, but this is what's happening here in this neck of the woods. This is Sheriff Housing Development. To be able to live inside one of these housing developments, you have to sign with the sheriff company. There's still a lot of individual fences, which is kind of unusual because it's already inside of a larger fence in which there's a security company that manages security, so there should be no need for individual fences between the houses. But I suppose it's a habit that Guyanese are not willing to give up easily, so a A lot of these houses are surrounded by concrete fences and otherwise, and other fences. But this is what's happening, guys. If you're living in North America, New York, Toronto, Ontario, or even on the West Coast or the middle of the country, you know, California, Texas, you should be able to compare what you see here with what is customary in your neighborhood, and you'll be able to understand some of the complaints that I have. Right, like for example, the sidewalks. Now I know there are places in Georgia that don't have sidewalks, but I also know whenever they build the sidewalks, there are some standard dimensions and design that is followed. Over here, I think there's a new housing development behind this great fence and entrance. And we haven't started building those houses yet. This is the main entrance for this housing development, Sheriff's Housing Development. A lot of construction still ongoing. Some kind of generator here. So the major development, the major progress here is that they have covered this drain with slabs of concrete, but they have really made no effort to build a sidewalk, because the sidewalk actually requires some kind of design, standardized design. They've also started to resurface this red road into a 4-lane road. I don't even know if you can call this a highway, but it is a 4-lane street. And they're still working on the road surface. On this side, inside of this housing development, they seem to be building here a multi-unit rental building. Or maybe it's a community complex, I don't know. We'll see eventually, but that building is under construction here. And further down, more new buildings. This is again the problem with non-standard sidewalks. I guess this is supposed to be a cut in the sidewalk to accommodate this entrance, but like I said, this is going to be inaccessible for wheelchairs, people with wheelchairs. But yeah, this is what's happening here. And I think all of this is Sheriff's Housing Development. You can see the houses seem to have some individual designs. In other words, they are not all the same, although they seems to be grouped together in houses that are designed or built the same size and the same design, such as these three in front here. But I guess it's still being developed, houses are still being constructed, and this is just what it looks like now. We will know by the end of construction what these houses will look like. Now this is Providence. It's a Saturday morning, Saturday the 10th day of August, so it's the middle of summer. in Providence in Guyana, and I'm just giving you an update on this neck of the woods because it's about 6 months since I was in this neighborhood, and it's one of those rapidly growing areas in the fastest growing economy in the world, which is Georgetown, which is Guyana. Economy growing at about 50% per annum, a rate of 50% per year. And this is what one of the newest housing developments look like. Now, in my estimate, it's kind of, it looks haphazard and shabby, but maybe this is just the building phase. This one is called Sheriff Apartments. That's what the sign says. Right, you can read it. I don't know if you can, but that sign says Sheriff Apartments, which means that this is probably going to be an apartment building. And the 6 air conditioning units hanging off the side of the building. It's just the same. Let's see what the sign says. The sign says property owned and secured by Sheriff Security Services and constructed by Sheriff Construction. So that tells you who they are. They are the contractors, the constructors, the owner of the property, and they provide security. It's a one company.
Distance 5 miles. Duration 1 hour 42 minutes 25 seconds. Pace 25 minutes 51 seconds per mile.
Like I said, it's one company with vertical integration. This is a new apartment building also being built, I guess, by a sheriff, since they own all the property in this direction, in this neighborhood, I assume. Morning. And another set of apartments there. Apartment complex. So guys, this is what's happening in this neck of the woods. A lot of construction going on. That's the end of, I guess, the sheriff complex. And the other side is probably another private set of buildings being constructed here. So this is what is happening in Providence. Want to see more content like this? Click like and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me what you think about the changes, the developments here in Providence, and particularly with Sheriff Housing Development. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world.